Anime for you, Japan. Thank you for watching our videos. The imagination of anime encompasses the universe. On this channel, we would like to send you a message that says, we hope you will use the power you have gained from anime to imagine the world. The anime we will be introducing this time is, please enjoy, Tsugumi Ohba's career and the birth of Death Note. Tsugumi Ohba is a Japanese manga author, and for a long time his true identity was a mystery. He is the creator of popular works such as Death Note and Bakuman. And Death Note in particular is highly acclaimed around the world as his masterpiece. The artist in charge of the artwork for Death Note was the talented manga artist Takeshi Obata. And the combination of Obata's detailed and beautiful pictures with the story by Tsugumi Ohba proved to be a winning combination, and the series became an overwhelming hit. The series, which began in 2003 in the weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and ran for a total of 108 episodes, became a huge hit, selling more than 30 million copies worldwide. The story focuses on ethical dilemmas and the dangers of power and the intelligent. Psychological battles and tense plot twists kept readers hooked. Summary of the story and characters. Death Note is the story of a genius high school student, Light Yagami, who obtains a Death Note with godlike powers and, in order to create his own ideal world, aims to become the god of a new world as Kira, while judging criminals. However, his actions are seen as a problem on a global scale, and he is pursued by international investigative agencies, and a fierce battle of wits unfolds with the mysterious Detective L. The Death Note has a terrifying rule that the person whose name is written in it will die, and Light uses this power to execute criminals one after another. But the work as a whole depicts a moral question of whether or not this act is truly just. 1. Light Yagami. The main character and the central figure of the story. Light is an elite high school student with a brilliant mind, and he later goes on to pass the entrance exam for Tokyo University. However, after coming into possession of the Death Note, he becomes fascinated by its power and calls himself Kira, and tries to create an ideal world by eliminating criminals around the world. Despite his cold-hearted personality, he also has a charismatic side, and his actions as he explores the boundary between good and evil pose ethical questions to the reader. His famous line, "I will become the god of the new world," symbolizes his beliefs and purpose, and encapsulates his madness and genius in a single phrase. 2. L. He is a mysterious figure who is considered to be the world's greatest detective and the greatest rival of K. He leads an international investigation to hunt down K, and uses his incredible powers of deduction and insight to get close to K's true identity. He has a unique character, usually sitting in a strange posture and liking sweets. But in a battle of wits he has overwhelming calmness and sharp thinking. L's deductions gradually corner Sakino, and their intellectual confrontation is one of the highlights of the work. L's famous line, "I am convinced that I am Kira," symbolizes his calmness and keen insight into Sakino. 3. Riot. The Shinigami who dropped the Death Note to Earth. He is the original owner of the Death Note, but he dropped it on Earth to pass the time and have it picked up by Light. Ryuk is a storyteller-like character, and while he is always by Light's side, he does not interfere with his actions, but simply continues to observe. Ryuk likes apples from the human world and frequently eats them. His innocent and indifferent attitude is a comical element that slightly relieves the tension of the story. Ryuk's line, "Humans are interesting," shows that he is looking down on humans, but he is also enjoying the intellectual confrontation between the moon and L. 4. Misa Amane. A woman who falls in love with Light. She also obtains a Death Note and appears as the second Kira. Misa is a popular model who charms those around her with her appearance and cheerful personality. But inside she is devoted to Light. She is prepared to give her life for Light, and plays an important role in the latter half of the story. Kaisa is extremely obedient to Sakino, and follows his plans. But her overly pure love will have a major impact on the development of the story. Her line, "Misa can die for Sakino," shows her dangerous love. 5. Tsuchiru Yagami. Sakino's father, and as a police bureaucrat, he is deeply involved in the investigation of the Kira case. Soichiro is a serious, principled man who values his family, but he is unaware that his son, Sakino, is Kira. While he and L try to hunt down Kira, he also struggles with his family. Throughout the story, Soichiro vacillates between his love as a father and his duty as an investigator, and his sense of justice influences the confrontation between Sakino and L. His words, "There is no way my son could be Kira," symbolize the sorrow of a father who is unaware of his son's true nature. The mental battle between Light and L. The greatest appeal of death. Note is the high-level mental battle between Light and L. While the two try to expose each other's true identities, they also build a friendly relationship on the surface. In this atmosphere of tension, the psychological battle between the two unfolds. Tsukino senses that L has doubts about him, and he acts skillfully, evading L's surveillance. In particular, the image of the scene where he writes the name of the criminal while checking information on a small TV hidden in a bag of potato chips is a famous scene that symbolizes Tsukino's cleverness and cold-heartedness. Meanwhile, L also keeps a close eye on Tsukino's every move, continuing to search for evidence that he is Kira. In order to get close to Tsukino, L pretends to be a classmate of his from university and cooperates with him in the investigation, while at the same time psychologically cornering him. The climax of this battle of wits comes when L asks Tsukino, "What would you do if you were Kira?" and L's keen reasoning shines through. Special abilities and the rules of the Death Note. The Death Note has very detailed rules, and these are the key to the story. Here are some of the main rules. 1. The person whose name is written in the Death Note will die. The person whose name is written in the Death Note will die of a heart attack 40 seconds later. However, it is also possible to specify the cause of death in detail, and in that case, the person will die of the cause specified. 2. Matching faces and names. In order to kill someone with the Death Note, you need to know their real name and face. For this reason, Tsukino uses all kinds of methods to uncover the true identities of his rivals and investigators. 3. Shinigami eyes. Having Shinigami eyes means that you can see a person's real name and lifespan just by looking at their face. Keisei makes a deal with Shinigami to gain this ability, but in exchange, he loses half of his own lifespan. These rules become entangled in complex ways, and the story takes on an even more thrilling development. In particular, the image of the scene, where Tsukino cleverly uses the Death Note rules to judge criminals, while concealing his own identity, highlights his ruthlessness and genius strategy. Tsukino's relationship with his powerful rivals. In addition to L, there are other powerful rivals who appear in the story. In particular, Nier and Mello, who appear after L's death, pursue Tsukino as L's successors. 1. Nier. Nier appears as L's successor, and is the character who challenges Tsukino in the final battle. Like L, he has a highly developed power of deduction, and is characterized by his calm and unemotional personality. Nier analyzes the actions of Kira in detail, and ultimately succeeds in uncovering his true identity. 2. Mello. Mello is L's other successor, and, in contrast to Nier, he is an emotional person who is not afraid to use violent means. He joins forces with a criminal organization to bring down Light, and pursues Kira's true identity using forceful methods. Mello's actions often conflict with Nia's plans, but he ultimately becomes an important factor in bringing Light to justice. Extra character introduction. Death Note has many characters who are not central to the story, but are loved by core fans. Here, we will introduce some of these fan-favorite characters. 1. Matsuda Momoda. Matsuda is a member of the Kira investigation team, and is a comical, slightly dim-witted character. However, he is the only member of the team who, despite his doubts about Tsukino, tries to believe in his friends. Matsuda's line "I believe in you, Tsukino-kun" highlights his purity amid the tension of the story. 2. Rem. Like Ryuk, Rem is a Shinigami from the Shinigami world, who gives Kira the Death Note. Rem has a deep affection for Kira, and is willing to make sacrifices to protect her. Rem's existence shows that Shinigami are not simply emotionless beings, but can also have feelings. 3. Wataru. L's butler and an important person who supports him. Wataru swears absolute loyalty to L, and even after L's death, he is depicted as continuing to carry out his intentions. 4. Giovanni. He is a subordinate of Nia and a person with excellent engineering skills. Giovanni plays an important role in the final battle with Tsukino, and leads Nia's plan to success. 5. Kiyomi Takada. Takada is Tsukino's former lover, and a woman who becomes involved with him again in the latter half of the story. She becomes a follower of Kira and cooperates with Tsukino, but her actions ultimately lead to tragedy. Images of maniacal scenes and interesting episodes. Death Note is full of images of unique scenes that not only show the tense mental battles, but also highlight the characters' personalities. In Partick,